Hi, this is Bob Caputo, and on this episode of Livin Lite Livin Easy, we're going to talk about pumpkins and Halloween. Yes, it's pumpkin time. Now, you have to wonder, where did the whole concept of Halloween and pumpkins come from? And why do we buy pumpkins on Halloween? What's it all about? Well, Halloween dates back to the old ancient Celtic times, when at the end of October, it was the end of the harvest, it was sort of considered the end of the bright time, and November 1st was the beginning of the dark time, because remember, it gets dark very early in Ireland in the winter. So they would celebrate the end of the harvest, and also they figured that because it was the end of the season, kind of blurred the lines between heaven and earth, so there might be bodies coming back that were dead. So they would light bonfires and put on funny costumes and scary costumes to keep the dead people away from them. Now, of course, that eventually turned into, as time went by, a more formal thing. And in England, then you'd have poor people in England who would go to wealthy families' houses, and in exchange for money or food, they would wear the costumes and they would pray for the family's dead people. That's when trick-or-treating started. Now, where did the whole pumpkin thing happen? Well, according to Irish folklore, there was a guy named Stingy Jack. Now, Stingy Jack was kind of a friend of the devil. And he had the devil out drinking one night, I guess as Irish Stingy Jack would do. And the devil, the Stingy Jack didn't want to pay for his drinks. So he convinced the devil to turn himself into a coin to pay for the drinks. Now, Stingy Jack took the coin, put it in his pocket next to a cross, which locked the devil in the coin. And after some negotiation, the result was that the devil agreed not to touch Stingy Jack for a year, to leave him alone and never touch his soul. Well, a year later, they're out again, and this time they negotiate because there's some fruit on a tree that apparently they want. And Stingy Jack convinced the devil, who may not be the smartest devil in the world, to climb the tree to get the fruit. Well, according to the folklore, while he's up there, Stingy Jack paints a cross on the bottom of the tree, locking the devil on the tree. So they negotiate again. This time, he gets a 10-year guarantee not to be touched for 10 years. Well, sometime soon after, Stingy Jack died. And he went to heaven, and God didn't want him. He's a friend of the devil, so he kicked him out. And of course, he had this deal with the devil not to touch his soul. So Stingy Jack was sort of damned for eternal times to walk around with nowhere to go. So the theory is he walks around at night carrying a lantern every night. A lantern is a carved-out potato with a candle inside. Now, as time went by, the carved-out potato got bigger and bigger, became a turnip, and then when people came to America, pumpkins were a big harvest thing. Eventually, the craze became carving up pumpkins with scary faces. But that's how Stingy Jack became the Jack-o'-lantern. Now, sometime in the 1500s, the Pope declared that November 1st, also on the same holiday as the Irish, would be All Souls Day. So the night before was All Hallows Day, which then, as time went by, became All Halloween, as how slang became. So actually, Halloween is based both in Irish Celtic history and the Catholic Church. Now we're going to go out, we're going to pick some pumpkins. We're going to show you how to pick a pumpkin and what you can do with it. Pumpkin patch now. Yes, a pumpkin patch. Now, the pumpkins are really cool. They're very healthy, actually. They're very low in calories, low in carbohydrates, and they're full of water, which makes them easy to digest, and they're full of fiber. And what's really cool is not only is the pumpkin edible, but so is the pumpkin flour. This flour can be eaten, actually. You can take it, you can buy it, you can fry it, you can just roast it. It's actually amazingly good. I'll keep it for later. Now, how do you choose a pumpkin? Well, it's up to you. There's a few things you want to think about first. You want to make sure the pumpkin's fresh and is going to last a long time, whether you're going to cook with it or carve it out. And what you want to do is, when I find a pumpkin like this, that's not too fresh. Let's find a fresher one. Here's one over here I like. Okay, this is good. Now, this is a pumpkin patch, so we're going to have to pull this up. This pumpkin has, as you can see, a nice sturdy stem, which is green, which means it's fresh. There's no major blemishes on it, which is cool. And unlike a honeydew or cantaloupe, now with a honeydew, what you do is you push the bottom and smell it. If it smells like a cantaloupe or honeydew and it gives a little bit, that means it's ripe. With a pumpkin, it's the exact opposite. You press it and you put your thumb into it. If it moves, it's overripe, which means it's going to spoil too fast. This is a nice firm pumpkin. It's nicely shaped, it's nice and round. Now you can choose whatever shape you want to choose, of course, depending on whether you're going to carve it. Some people like tall pumpkins. I like round ones, of course, whatever size. But this is a great pumpkin. I'm going to take this pumpkin. It looks nice and healthy. Could make a great jack-o'-lantern.